Microsoft has a brand new Surface in town, the Surface Pro 4. Here's our review. The Surface Pro 4 is exactly what it should be, an iteration update that refines and builds upon the success of the Surface Pro 3. So how is it? I spent the last 2 weeks with the 4th iteration of the Surface, and like the Surface Pro 3, Microsoft has succeeded. The big shift for the Surface Pro 4 compared to Surface Pro 3 comes down to these core components and features. New Intel Skylake processors, the 6th generation, a higher resolution display, a slightly larger screen, slightly lighter, increased levels of pressure sensitivity for the pen, facial recognition camera for Windows Hello, updated thermals for more distributed cooling, new internal storage configuration with up to 1 terabyte, new RAM configuration with up to 16 gigabytes, and a higher starting price, now at $899. For the Surface Pro 3 user, it is obvious that the Surface Pro 4 offers modest improvements over many categories. That is where the Surface Pro 4's story becomes interesting. While performance differences between a Broadwell Core i5 versus the Skylake version are modest, when you add in all the other features, the Surface Pro 4 feels like a leaner, meaner machine. Perhaps the biggest change, though, is not the Surface itself, but rather the new type cover, which makes some momentous changes in all the right directions. These modifications are significant because if you are a Surface Pro 3 owner, you can now use the new cover as well. This results in a $129 side grade rather than purchasing a whole new Surface. When it comes to the new type cover, there are a few major changes, including a larger trackpad, a new spread-out key design, new teal color option, and a Fingerprint Id version which goes for $159. Let's talk about typing. It's better, much better. I really didn't have any issues with the previous iteration of the type cover, but the new spread key design is definitely an improvement. Although the keys are slightly smaller to give that spacing, they are still large enough to type without looking, and the spacing only adds to that ability. The travel of the keys is also improved with a newer version featuring a softer response along with a longer travel. The top row of function keys has also shifted around. Microsoft is ditching the Windows 8 dedicated keys, for example, Share, Search, and Settings, but they have added Volume Up, Volume Down, and thankfully, Print Screen. The end result is a keyboard that feels more traditional for laptop users rather than a Windows 8 focused one. The new trackpad is significantly wider and taller. This is definitely good enough for most users now. I would find it difficult to believe that other reviewers would slam the trackpad for being too small with this version. The drag coefficient is also lower, with the new type cover being even smoother to touch than its predecessor. It's really a great experience. Still, all is not perfect. I do wish there were some more customizations with the precision touchpad settings. Scrolling in Microsoft Edge feels nice, but the number of lines it scrolls in one swipe is not nearly enough for my usage. As a result, I feel like I have to work to browse a web page, or reduce the zoom to make items smaller. At the very least, Microsoft should offer a Synaptics-like control panel that lets you customize the trackpad at the nitty-gritty level. Finally, there's a new Fingerprint Id version of the type cover in black. For an extra $30, you can gain the ability to log into the Surface just by swiping your finger. I did not get to try this version, but not only is this a great option, but Surface Pro 3 users can use it as well. That's a significant option, as Surface Pro 3 users with Windows 10 can now have a Windows Hello experience without feeling like Microsoft is forcing them to upgrade to the current Surface. Speaking of biometric authentication, let's talk about Windows Hello and facial recognition. On the Surface Pro 4 and Surface Book, Microsoft is introducing some new elements for the front-facing camera. Specifically, there's an IR diode and sensor that works with the traditional 5-megapixel front-facing camera to help log into your computer just by using your face. This all works through Windows Hello, which is built into Windows 10, and it augments the PIN and password login systems. To be clear, this is not an Intel RealSense F200 setup, but rather Microsoft's own creation that is smaller and slimmer for the Surface Pro 4. While the idea for facial recognition is really neat, Microsoft unfortunately did not have this feature ready for us in time for our review. So we can't review it right now, but Microsoft has informed me that it should be ready by the time the device ships on October 26. We'll revisit it at that time. Let's talk about that glorious display. It increases the size from 12 inches to 12.3, which is accomplished by making the bezel thinner. Likewise, the resolution increases from 2160 by 1440 to a more impressive 2763 by 1824 at 267 ppi. This easily bests the Retina MacBook Pro and Surface Pro 3. Additionally, Microsoft boasts that the new Surface Pro 4 display has a 1300 to 1 contrast ratio It supports 100% sRGB color, and it packs in a whopping 5 million pixels. I never had many complaints about the Surface Pro 3's display quality, but if Microsoft wants to add more pixels, I won't complain. Indeed, the Surface Pro 4's display is noticeably better than the Surface Pro 3 when it comes to brightness and even reduced glare. Regarding light bleed, unfortunately I did notice some severe light bleed from the lower right and lower areas. I would hope for the full production unit such an occurrence would not happen. Nonetheless, the display on the Surface Pro 4 is a marvel. You no longer see any pixels, the low reflectivity is ideal for working, and the reduced bezel makes it stunning to look at. I'm glad to say the cameras have greatly improved on the Surface Pro 4 as well. For one, the world-facing camera thankfully now has autofocus, whereas the Surface Pro 3 was fixed. Additionally, the rear camera goes from 5 megapixel to the same 8 megapixel one found in the current Surface 3. The front camera is also quite good at 5 megapixels. It won't set any records, but for usage on Skype and other VoIP apps, it gets the job done. There's also now the addition of a privacy light for the front-facing camera. Simply put, this is an LED that turns on to let you know that the front camera is in use, and it's a nice touch to see. When it comes to the Surface series, there's one thing that separates it from all the other PCs out there. That's Surface Pen. With the Surface Pro 4, there are a few notable changes from the Pro 3 that really enhance the pen experience. The pen is now magnetic and it sticks to either side of the surface, increased levels of pressure sensitivity, and a new custom processor dedicated to touch and inking. Here's what it all means in the real world. The pen now has very minimal lag when drawing on the display. The lack of lag is super important for that illusion, that this is a pen and paper and not digital. The more you minimize this delay, the better the illusion. It is still there, but it is reduced to such an amount that you could feel the lines between real and digital being blurred. Pressure sensitivity is also increased from 256 to 1024. For those who draw with the Surface, you will gain a much finer control over line pressure when you press on the display. While Microsoft can go further, in my opinion, they are at the threshold of making this digital ink technology a true replacement for analog systems. The rear button on the Surface Pen always felt like it was an eraser, but I'm glad to see Microsoft has completed the experience with the Surface Pro 4. Now you can just erase your writing and drawing like you would in the real world, if you forgive the pen eraser metaphor. You can also now click and hold the rear button to launch Cortana. The new Surface Pro 4 pen also has a battery that reportedly lasts 1 year, which is a dramatic increase from the once every few months one in the previous version. Keep in mind, I'm not even a pen user, but I'm very impressed with these enhancements. If you draw or take notes, the Surface Pro 4 makes huge strides in improving the pen experience. But the best part of the new Surface Pen? It all works with the Surface Pro 3 too. Everything from the eraser to launching Cortana is all there. I'm a fan of Intel's 6th generation Skylake processors. The lower heat, quieter fan, and overall better performance makes them a natural fit with Windows 10. When it comes to the speed of the Surface Pro 4, it's fast. This is due to two component changes, the new Intel Skylake processors, which are clocked higher, and the use of the Toshiba PCIe SSDs for storage. Throw in ample amounts of RAM and Intel's new HD graphics, and you get a system that easily bests the last generation. Microsoft was not lying when they said it was fast. In terms of battery life, Microsoft claims the Surface Pro 4 gets the same 9 hours of video playback as the Surface Pro 3. In our tests, we average between 7 and 8 hours of everyday usage, depending on tasks. So what to think of the Surface Pro 4? There are two ways we can break this down. Those with an older Surface, including Surface Pro 3, and those considering a Surface for the very first time. If you're a Surface Pro 3 user, your best bet for an upgrade is to just buy the new Surface Pen and type cover with Fingerprint Id. The combined total is $220, but both will certainly upgrade your experience without breaking the bank. While the Surface Pro 4 is a fantastic upgrade, the costs in doing so from an existing system are likely not worth it unless you have a lot of cash. If you're a serious Surface user who has the money, there are really no downsides to buying the Surface Pro 4. You get a larger, higher resolution display, new Windows Hello facial recognition, and a much faster system. The external differences may be minimal, but the performance benefits are considerable. Think of the Surface Pro 4 as the Surface Pro 3, but perfected. If you're considering the Pro 4 for your first Surface, you won't be disappointed. Microsoft has thankfully not messed with the winning formula of the Surface Pro 3, and they improve upon it in many ways. It runs cooler, has a faster CPU, it is slightly thinner and lighter, and it has a better display. The one downside, in theory, is the cost, which now starts $100 higher than the original Surface Pro 3. But hey, this is a premium device, and Microsoft is not shy about that, hence the $2,700 Core i7 version with 1TB SSD. Perhaps the bigger question looming is the Surface Book, and if you should consider that instead of the Surface Pro 4. I think this is an easy question, assuming money is less of a concern. If you are a die-hard laptop user who is not huge into tablets, Surface Book is your best bet. If, however, you want a small, light, portable, and something unique, the Surface Pro 4 is something to consider. Just remember, the Surface Book is Generation 1 and still may have some growing pains. The Surface Pro 4 is the best Surface Pro yet. It may have taken 3 generations to get here, but this is Microsoft hitting their stride with confidence. So what's not to like about the Surface Pro 4? Well, basically the same things as the Surface Pro 3. For instance, it's sometimes awkward in your lap. There's only one USB port, there's no USB Type-C for future proofing, there's a high price point, and it's decent but not mind-blowing battery life. The magnetic pen solution is nice, but it will still come loose in your bag, and not everyone is going to find a 12.3-inch display ideal. Finally, I did have some software glitches on occasions, including a faulty display driver, although Microsoft assured me it would be fixed by the time the Surface Pro 4 ships. So that's our review of the Surface Pro 4. If you need more information, you can head to Windows Central or try our forums if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Take care.